Hello everybody, and welcome back to Pravus Gaming with more Hearts of Iron 4, yes, Equestria at War, a My Little Pony-based mod for the game. I've done this before on the channel. In the last series, I went into it, ironically, kind of expecting meme-worthy and cringy content and just wanted to have some laughs. But by the end of it, I walked away impressed that this might be one of the best mods for Hearts of Iron 4 to date, so I kind of want to get into it again, unironically. Something, obligatory masculine statement, kill all ponies. Okay, good, we got that out of the way. Now, Equestria at War has gone through a major update recently called Herzland in version 1.7.1.2, which I understand is supposed to rework the Griffonian Empire a little bit, kind of add some more depth to the various different factions within, and I'm looking forward to experiencing that today. The only reason I didn't get into this sooner is because that's when a lot of people were talking about the FTC and COPPA rules and whether this stuff could be targeting children. I'll just say up front, this is not intended for kids. If for whatever reason you are a child under the age of 13 and you somehow stumbled upon this video, this is not your favorite TV show. You will not like this. You will be bored. Please just go and get parental consent or just go to something different, okay? I'm not trying to be mean. I don't want to get in trouble because this is not content for kids. All right. Now, there are a lot of factions within the Griffonian Empire that you can play as, kind of autonomous territories and provinces and duchies, etc. The Griffonian Empire is the classic choice and has a lot of different options from a conquest standpoint. There's also, let's say, the Strawberry Duchy and a few others here, but we're going to be playing with the Yale Rectorate. Apparently, this has a really fun fascistic path that the community really enjoys, so this was recommended to me as one really good option by the staff mods, so I'm looking forward to trying this out today. We are led by Rector Magnificus Mikusian. What a dapper-looking griffin you are! Beautiful wig. You seem pretentious, and I like it. We start off non-aligned. We have a ruling party called the Rat. The Drat Party? The Drat Party it is. Yale is a nominal vassal of the Griffonian Empire, having served as the academic center of the empire for generations, with Yale's rectors eventually taking over the nation. However, as the Griffonian Empire declined over recent years, friction has emerged in the Yale Rectorate. Yale lacks a strong national identity, and with the emperor sicklier than ever, societal divides are deepening. The country's leader, Rector Mikusian, seeks to lead a moderate course, while revolutionary and reactionary universities try to mobilize the discontent in Yale society for their own purposes. Will the light of Yale shine bright in the darkness, shine bright like a diamond, or will it be snuffed out like so many places of learning before it? All right, this seems pretty promising. We're going to be playing as the academics, a technocratic society. This can't possibly go wrong. So in the Griffonian Empire, there are a lot of different independent, well, I won't say independent, but autonomous nations kind of within the umbrella of the empire. And they're all colored orange here, but they're all semi-distinct, and they all can kind of make some sort of a play for the throne of the Griffonian Empire. We are playing as the Yale Rectorate, located like so. Let's jump right into it and see if we can't have fun with no ponies, but instead griffins, because they're far more manly and masculine. Okay, we got a lot that we could read. Let's see. Yale Rectorate, the light of science. When Grover I unified the Griffonian Empire in the 8th century ALB, the Duchy of Yaledom became one of the constituent states of the empire ruled by a vassal duke. The sheer size of the empire and proximity to Griffonheim allowed Yale to specialize on providing university education to the imperial elite. Okay, so this all seems pretty fun. We would attract students from all over the continent. The advent of industrialism saw the landowning nobility grow poorer while the universities and cities blossomed. So I'm sure we're doing just fine. Then there's a Republican Revolution, there's Hearts of the People, there's a lot of stuff that you can read here, and if you really want to get into it, I would highly recommend you do so. We are starting off in Central Griffonia, a varying amount of infrastructure between the various different states. We are a disunified cluster of nations, all having a small to decent industrial base. Lots of vassals under the control of the Griffonian Empire, but depending on what path the Emperor takes and what we decide to do, it's probably going to fracture horribly. Let's see. Incorporates an expanded sport, blah, blah, blah. We already saw some of this from the previous series, and I don't think a lot of this has really changed. And then there is a changelog if you care about that. All right, so here we are. This tiny little nation right over here. I will just toss all 7 of my divisions into some sort of an army. We have very low pony power. It should be griffin power. Thank you very much. Now let's take a look at our national focus tree. So this is where we're supposed to have a lot of fun, right? So we have Subsidized Industry, which is not bad, actually. If you want to get some extra research bonuses, we could probably really use this. I'm actually very tempted to go for this immediately, but let's see what our other options are. Establish the Yale Defense Council. Gain the national spirit for some extra army experience every day and war support and army experience. Pretty good if you want to get some better armies right off the bat. I'm not sure how aggressive we really will get to be, considering, so maybe we don't start with this. What's this option? Gather the council. The situation in Griffonheim has changed. So I'm guessing depending on what happens in the Empire, this is going to open up. And then we get to choose which path we want to follow. So this looks like moderate, this looks like communist, and this looks like fascist. Okay, so we're probably supposed to go down this based on what was recommended. The science of life with 2 little Valentine hearts. How terrifying that is. Okay. Yeah, well, since there hasn't been a major change in Griffenheim, let's go ahead and start by subsidizing industry because that usually is pretty darn good. Now, if you guys recall, of course, in the Equestria War mod, there's a lot of tech that you can follow, ranging from all the different support companies, lots of cool infantry equipment, including magical weapons and stuff sometimes, if you want to go down that route. Let's see, we have our tanks, and there are a lot of different variants available, lots of artillery. Doctrines are more or less exactly the same as far as I can tell. Still have humans in the icon, but I'm sure that art will change someday. Naval looks pretty standard. Naval doctrine's pretty standard. Air, engineering, industry, lots more options down here. And then we have the specialized Griffon technologies. Every race gets their own special tech. So it looks like we start off with something called Knights. The Knights who say, "Quah!" They require 1,000 pony power. Let's see. They've got, it looks like pretty mild stats. Very mild stats, in fact, except for what looks like an absolute freaking ton of hardness. What is this, 100 and... No, you got 15,000% hardness. Nothing could literally break you. What the heck is this? All right, so Knights are extremely well-armored units, apparently. I have no idea how that changes the meta, but okay. Society and economy, resource gain efficiency, construction speed. I like that. Let's go ahead and start with that right there. Then we have the we can fly tech. Leg infantry are able to move around faster and attack better in hills and mountains because they know how to fly. Oh, that's pretty slick. I like that. And then we have machine nests, better air base and naval base construction speed. Okay, so a lot of this seems pretty awesome. We'll come back to some of this a little bit later, though. Let's get started with the basics in terms of industry and so on. We should also pick up the electric mechanical engineering. Only 3 research slots, considering we started off as the academic capital of the Empire. I'm surprised about that, but all right. We need some more civilian factories, so let's get started by building a couple of those, and then maybe a couple of military factories after that. I mean, we don't have a lot of space yet until I do some conquering, so let's sit back and just enjoy for a minute, shall we? Infantry weapons for knights. Work around, ignore. And for mountaineers. Okay. Well, what does that do? What kind of templates do we have to start off with? We have some basic infantry at only 12 combat width. Very insubstantial. Then we have the Universitat Ritters, or however you're supposed to say that, I don't know. There's some sort of a special unit. I guess the knights are kind of like our special forces. Certainly appears that way, right? Not the best in terms of soft attack. How does that really compare to regular infantry? Yeah, regular infantry are better at attacking than these guys are. They don't have any armor. Not much in heart attacks. Yeah, it doesn't seem like they have very much going for them, except they're supposed to have that extraordinary hardness value, right? So I'm not really sure if those are better or worse, or how that's supposed to work. I guess we're going to find out one way or another. I'm looking forward to some of the story just sort of unfolding itself. Now, last time we played as the Changeling Lands, led by the evil Queen Chrysalis, and we conquered literally the entire world. That was kind of fun. But I always wanted to try out the Empire. I don't know, just a totally different political situation. Seems pretty promising. What's going on down over here? The Kingdom of Broadfeld, apparently, is already at war with the Communists, the Griffon Liberation something. Griffon Liberation Army? I guess. I don't know. We do know from our last series that the Kingdom of Wingbardy has a tendency to go on kind of a conquest rampage. They're effectively like fascist Italy from World War II, so I expect we are going to come to blows with them. Or maybe we form a faction someday. I don't really know. Oh, this is fun. Because we start off as a subject, we have the whole Dominion thing going on here. So we actually are not currently able to become free. We are definitely a vassal of the Griffonian Empire. Huh. Well, I would obviously like to become free unless that comes with certain downsides like, I don't know, everyone gangs up on me and tries to kill me? Maybe. Durat appears to be the largest political power right now at 60% popularity. Okay, very nice even numbers. We are Griffon. We have an outdated industrial sector. Hopefully we can fix that. And we are a developed scientific nation, which makes perfect sense. Feedback! The Imperial train rolled into Station 1, the monumental railway station at the heart of Greenback, Yale's capital. The noise of the train was drowned out by the cheers of the railway workers and engineers who had gathered inside to see their emperor arrive. This wasn't the first visit of Grover V, who had made the Imperial Railway a pet project of his. Rector Magnificus Mycusian, something, along with the head railway engineer, greeted Grover when he stepped out of his carriage. The Emperor looked sick and weak, and it almost seemed like each step was taking its toll on him. Mycusian gulped as he shook the claw of the Emperor. It was that bad. The head engineer seemed not to care, still smiling proudly as he greeted Grover. He asked the question on every griffin's mind, "Your Majesty, how was your trip so far?" To the surprise of all, Grover smiled and answered, "Your team did an excellent job. You managed to cut through some of the harshest terrain in the Heartlands, and some of the views are astonishing." The crowd exploded into cheers, and even Mycusian managed to relax for a minute to listen to Grover speak. The Emperor continued his praise. "Any griffin who rides this railway will surely feel as close to every part of the Empire as I have. Thank you for—" The Emperor started coughing loudly. "Thank you for the—" And then he bowed into the fit of coughs continued. The crowd fell silent again, and Mycusian decided to step in and shield the Emperor. "Let's go inside. It must just be the pollution." Haven't fixed that yet? Good grief, what's wrong with you? Once Grover was safely seated in his carriage again, the Rector Magnificus appealed to him. "Greenback has the best hospital on the continent. Perhaps you could stay here. Whatever it isn't too late to—" "No, Mycusian, I must continue. I must finish this trip. Your Majesty, they need to see me one last time. Maybe you will understand that someday." Mycusian fell silent. How could Grover still carry on? What drove him? The scientist felt that finding the answer might be the key to solving Yale's problems. Gain free political power, thank you very much. Yeah, so this is a bit of a story-driven series. Like, the developers have put in so much effort to create a kind of, let's say, a very compelling story and lore for this, including with the whole Griffonian continent. That's not part of the MLP lore, but there it is, a whole new world, very carefully and painstakingly built together. I think it's really impressive. It's always been, like, one of the best. All right, so do we go down the Defense Council, which does give me that beautiful army experience, and we do like having that. There's also the first dictate from the Council, which gives extra war support training time and land fort construction speed. All this seems more or less okay. Or we can go for the construction speed and research speed plus 15%, which seems pretty good. Or some factories. I mean, 15% research speed and some construction speed is pretty darn good. I mean, it's hard for me to not say that the industrial base is super duper important for us, so we're going to go for that. As far as decisions, we could go for some military training, just get some extra army experience. I'm not going to worry about that right now. The friendship games, barf. Quaint but not our concern. That's for the silly little frolicking pony people. We don't like the ponies. Kill all ponies. Alright, so let's see. We're barely making any progress in terms of construction right now. Consumer goods are eating up what few factories I do have. If we can get out of this whole civilian economy thing, that would obviously be ideal. An export focus is probably fine to start. Volunteers only, kind of meh. What kind of political advisors do we have available? Civilian factory construction speed plus 15% is pretty darn good. Oh no, it's Hogwarts! There's something, I don't know. Hang on, we'll come back to this. Prince of Terror, War Advocate, War Industrialist. Lots of good options over here. Alright, the Emperor's death is probably a little bit more important, but I wanted to take a look at these national spirits. There's the modest illiteracy, so that's part of what's slowing us down so much. Despite continued efforts, a third of the populace in this country remains illiterate, with many being unable to attain a higher education. That doesn't seem very good in a university country. Moderate poverty and societal divides. Yeah, a lot of issues in Yale, it looks like. The Emperor is dead. After a long 40-year reign, the Griffonian Emperor Grover V passed away in the Imperial Palace. Once a brief period of utter chaos in the capital ended, a proper regency council was established to guide and care for Prince Grover VI and protect the Empire. A grand funeral procession was organized for the late Emperor in the capital, and a ceremony was held confirming Prince Grover VI's succession to the throne. Time will tell if this regency will end like the last one, in revolution and bloodshed. So the Griffonian Empire now should be led by, yes, a special regency council, which kind of comes with a lot of problems, so they're a bit of an issue, and they got a lot of vassals. This is the part where all the different nations start looking for ways to break free. including myself, if I get the option. And I think there's a bunch of different potential rulers that can emerge from the Griffonian Empire, so what we do may slightly depend on who takes the helm. I'm not too sure what to expect there yet, though. The Emperor has died. Grover V, our Emperor, has passed away after touring the new Imperial Rail network. The 5th Emperor of Griffonia had a troubled reign that saw the Empire slowly fracture. This was positive for Yale to the extent that it provided us with greater autonomy from Griffonheim, as we can now force concessions on our overlords. However, our citizens are Herzlanders through and through, bound by a shared culture and past to many griffins beyond our borders. Yale is economically mostly healthy and has a well-functioning government, but one could say it lacks a soul. With the Emperor gone, the common griffins are looking for new answers, and more of them seek to reinvent Yale in one way or another. The technocratic government, led by the universities, has not managed to speak the imagination of our citizens, which is leading more and more griffins to search for other answers. Something has to replace the place the Empire held in the identity of the Yalish, and the Rectorate might have to... Sorry, I'm having a hard time reading this last sentence here. The identity of the Yalish and the Rectorate might have to reinvent itself if it wants to continue like this. Modify societal divides by making things generally worse and increasing communistic and fascistic support on a daily basis. Okay, so we're now becoming increasingly radical. That'll be fun. We need to find ways to get some extra freedom points to cease being a dominion. That would be good. Briccolini becomes the Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Wingbardy. Yep, so Mussolini wannabe guy is going to be a problem, no doubt about it. This should be fun. Still modernizing the curriculum. Think it's very important that we do get some extra research speed going. Minus 24% is just awful. So increasing that by another 15% would be pretty good for us. We'll want to continue down the industrial path, but I do want to see if this opens up the new situation has changed options, which it has not, surprisingly. Okay. Interesting. All right, I kind of figured that was going to fire now. It has not, so the question is, do we continue down this route? Revise the banking law, extra population, consumer goods reduced, that's good, construction speed and research speed, that seems solid. Methods for a new millennium. More construction speed and research speed, and so, oh my gosh, there's so many good options here. Good lord, we can greatly improve our economies. Okay, so do I revitalize Yale or invest in the capital trying to get some extra military factories? Doesn't look like it locks me out from anything in particular. So we'd still be able to pick up some extra infrastructure and so on. Tungsten, aluminum. I mean, all the factories and stuff are definitely very good. I want these. Negligible illiteracy we could remove entirely, and that is the 15% and 5%. So I can get 15% research and 5% construction, or 10% construction and 5% research and consumer good reduction. Or we can get the construction speed 10, research 10, and extra factory output. I have to think that this is pretty good. Yeah, let's become a modern society. I'm going to continue down the industrial path. I mean, we're such a small nation, we are absolutely going to need it. And every little bit of construction speed is certainly going to help, especially since right now it's taking us 3 years to build a single factory. Pretty soon I will want to get those extra civilian factories from the National Focus Tree, but for now, this should be doing A-okay. So what are we doing in terms of production right now? We have bolt-action rifles, support equipment, and towed artillery. Honestly, if we've only got 3 factories, that probably is the best that I can do, so we'll just live with it for now. Let's go for some more research speed. Obviously, the faster we research anything, the better we are going to do in the long run. Technology, man, is important, especially for a university technocratic nation. It's in the name. Technology. Technologic. You know? That kind of... Okay, whatever. We have Griffins, generals, currently available. War heroes, the old guard. Ah! Friggin' science got in my way! Let's see. Heinz Federhoff. Apfel von Kuchen. Gerhard Silverbeak. Lots of cool stuff. Obviously, the Griffins are somewhat Germanic in their culture. All right. This thing is so big, it takes up the entire screen from top to bottom. On the topic of science. Rector Magnificus Mikusian, I'm just going to say Mikusian, I have no idea, was lecturing at Yale University. It was late in the afternoon, and the lecture was almost over. So, there are 2 kinds of validity which can be used to measure the worth of any piece of research, internal and external validity. The better you can rule out alternative explanations for your findings, the higher your internal validity, while a higher external validity means you can generalize your findings. There was an audible sigh from one of our students. Only a couple were still taking notes. They were tired, after all. A brain could only take in so much information for so long during a day, and these young griffons had been in the lecture halls since the early morning. Oh, come on, I've been through college, it ain't that bad. Mercutien tapped his desk with a claw. All right, let's do something different then. The end of the professor's explanation got some drowsy heads raised. The rector sat down on top of his desk, giving the students a smile. What is the most important trait a scientist should possess? There are no wrong answers here. Oh, I beg to differ. Science says that there are definitely some wrong answers. A griffin hesitantly raised her claw and Mercutien pointed at her. A scientist should be unbiased, looking at every problem without prejudice. Oh yes, it is very important that you try to limit the influence of your own opinion and be objective. But we are not gods. Every scientist is influenced by their own perspective. Acknowledge this, and be open about whatever drives you, not just in science, but life in general. A few more claws were raised now. It seemed that Mercutien managed to connect with the students. They have to be humble and take criticism, another student proclaimed, smug about his answer. Of course, Mercutien replied. You must be able to admit your mistakes, but you must also know when to stick to your theory, even if no other scientist supports it. Some of the greatest scientists were laughed at when they first proposed their groundbreaking visions, and now they're in your textbooks. One more. A scientist must be apolitical and not like those Reds in Kyrusfall. What is that? Kyrusfall? Cyrusfall. The hall erupted into laughter, which faded away when Mercutien raised a claw. This comes back to what I said earlier. Seeing the world from just one perspective and contributing the root cause of all evil to one phenomenon might be reductionist. But science is not apolitical. It cannot be, as it is involved with the most important advancements in how our society functions. How you will use your knowledge and intellect might determine the well-being of millions. Be mindful of your responsibility, and have a great evening. The rector raised his claw again, indicating the class was dismissed. They have much to learn. Change in popularity of non-aligned. Oh, he was very persuasive for the next generation. Okay, yeah, that seems great. I'm going to overflow you with the fascists now. I mean, great speech and all. Wholeheartedly agree as an engineer myself. But more important to me that we have ideological purity and conquer everything. Because I like the blob. Dang it, I'm an imperialist. It's what I do. All right, we could modify the government with a chief of army. We have a single option with the old guard, and that's not a bad idea if you do want to get some extra political power. Not a bad idea at all. However, I really would like to get out of this whole civilian economy nonsense. Unfortunately, we don't actually have any world tension yet, so maybe we do want to go with the old guard now that I think about it. Do we want to go with the old guard? Are there any other options that would be better for me? Political power, political power, political power. Not seeing it. Maybe we do, actually. Army experience we aren't generating right now. And the more political power I gain, the faster I'm able to continue working on my government. And since we don't have any world tension, maybe this is what we should do. All right, let's do that. I mean, when in doubt, it's a pretty good option for you. Okay, so we could, again, invest in some stuff. National spirits, blah, blah, blah. More research and construction speed all seems pretty good. Still want to work down this defense council. I have a tendency to overlook a lot of the military bases or researches, and that's not generally good for me. Let's see. We do have a coastal defense force. We also have an air force, which I don't need right now. Council still is unable to do anything there. I'm guessing we can't do anything until the Regency Council is more or less either run its course or overthrown. Let's go ahead and get the negligible illiteracy out of the way. Again, just trying to get into the positive here with our research speed. Get through the extra construction speed and production efficiency caps as fast as we can. The extra construction speed means we get those factories. Let's go ahead and pick this up now. Spend some of that ahead of time bonus and pick it up a little bit faster. Enchanted Tools is about to be done. More construction speed and research gain efficiency. Sweet. So that would lead to what? Enchanted Machines for factory output. I do like that, but I'm not sure that's what I need right now. Should we go for Dispersed or Concentrated Industry? This is not like Red World, where they completely reworked the concentration and I got completely screwed in terms of factory production, so we can do whichever we want. I still kind of like the Dispersed. The extra retention is, like, really good, I think. So I'm going to go for Dispersed. Again, just trying to get as much out of it as we can. I know we don't have a lot of factories, but no, let's just get all of our industry done, out of the way, fast as we can. Should be fine. Let's see. Still no ideas here. Study acquired blueprints. We don't need to do any press censorship. And then there is borrowing from Flawina. The Yale Rectorate asks for a loan and then trade with Skyfall. Interesting. Don't think we're going to need to do that. I hope we don't anyway. Everything because of family. Brother! Irene Mushnabal quickly flew towards her target, hugging the small griffin from behind. Ah, Irene, you're here too. Eric Mushnabal, I don't know how you say that, replied, less than enthusiastically. Of course I wouldn't miss Family Day. They have a special holiday for families? That's fun. Released the hug, straightening her suit and tie while Eric turned to face her. Congratulations on your promotion at university, little brother. I'm sure Dad will be proud. Eric acquainted his eyes for a second before sighing, to which Irene patted the griffin on the shoulder. Rector of Cyrusval is no mean feat, Eric. If you are one of the most important griffins in Yale, come on, let's go. She took Eric by the claw, it could be Eric, I don't know. Eric by the claw, walking further into the Mushnabal mansion. There was already much chatter. I'm misreading now. I'm getting all flustered. There was already much chatter coming from the salon, and when they entered, about 24 Mushnabals greeted them. Not least of those was Theodore Mushnabal, father to Eric and Irene. He was large in stature and strutted towards his children with the air of authority only a true capitalist could have. His eyes gleamed with joy as he turned toward Irene first. Irene, my treasure, welcome home, dear. How is the company? Irene explained in her usual enthusiasm how the family business was doing. It took a few minutes before Theodore even recognized his son. Theodore's eyes screamed disapproval at Eric. Eric, you visit your father for once. That red den you work for is only a stone's throw away, you know. Yes, father. Eric didn't focus on his father's eyes anymore, softly banding his claw into a fist. In his mind, the mansion started burning. His father would be on the ground begging him for mercy for all the times he mistreated him. Gosh, that is drastic. How dare you. Red banners would flutter from the mansion, as all those who were ever exploited by the Mushnabal capitalists would repay that abuse in kind with a righteous revolution. Eric, are you all right? The voice of his sister, who had always gotten everything she wanted, snapped the rector of Cyrusval back to reality. She looked genuinely worried, trying to grasp what was going on in her brother's mind. I'm great, never felt better, really. Change in popularity and communism. We're probably going to have a fascistic option pretty soon. I can't pronounce literally anything at all that looks even vaguely Germanic, because despite the fact that I have a German heritage, I learned absolutely nothing of it. Heck, you put a little umlaut over a U or an A, I don't know what to do with it. It's a complete mystery to me. So expect extremely bad pronunciations. Is just how it's going to be. So what would happen if we did ask for a loan? We would have to pay yearly interest, but could invest some money in our economy. I have no idea. Absolutely no idea if that's worth it. It doesn't really tell you. I'm guessing we would get a consumer's good reduction temporarily, but it would increase over time. Or something along that line? I don't know. We've refurbished the public schools. Do we revise the banking law? Sure. Even more construction speed is good, not to mention the research speed. We are, by the way, finally going to be in the positive, 10%. All right. If with any luck, we're going to become a scientific powerhouse. That's sort of the entire point, right? So our construction speed should be improving. We have shaved off a few months from the civilian factory, but without more civilian factories in the first place, we're not going to make a lot of benefit. Heck, increasing our construction speed and our production speed doesn't do a lot if you don't have a lot of factories to begin with. The Grand Galloping Gala. Don't care. That's a pony problem. Go away, little ponies. Stability is only meh right now, 68%, 50% for war support. The new Sparkle. Yale University has many amenities for its students, one of which was a small indoors theater. While it was usually used for a music or theater club, today it was filled with students of all sorts for a special event. The murmurs in the room stopped when a male griffin walked onto the stage and tapped a microphone. Ladies and gentle griffs, we are here today to discuss the future of our most beloved country. It doesn't take a genius to feel that the academic system of government is not satisfying anymore. This begs the question, how do we govern ourselves? To give you one possible answer, please welcome our own Georgina Schuler, president of the New Sparkle Movement. Oh my gosh, that just sounds so... Okay, I'm gonna... You know what, whatever, it's fine. There was a large applause as a griffin with very light purple feathers climbs the stage and takes a microphone from the announcer. She gives the crowd a soft smile as the applause dies down. Greetings, everyone. Thank you for attending. Georgina's voice was soft, but still the crowd was silenced the moment she opened her beak. There is only one way forward from the stagnation we find ourselves in, and that is to go forward together. What a wonderful platitude that is. 40 years ago, griffins demanded influence in how they are ruled, and since then, Griffonia has not been the same. Everywhere, tyrants still cling to power with an iron claw. Even here in Yale, the fire of democracy seems all but doused in the fires of so-called enlightened technocracy. The Griffon's voice was now loudly echoing through the theater, her eyes glistening and every word full of passionate fire. But as long as there is a free-thinking Griffon left on Boreas's continent, there is still fuel for freedom's fire. And I intend, together with you, to be a new spark for democracy. Georgina's voice calmed down a little, but not with violence, and by keeping within the law. We will debate, protest, and talk to every Griffon who will listen, until we can choose our own destiny. The crowd erupted into cheers, and the new Sparkle movement gained many new members that day. Harmony, which is effectively like democracy in this game, but that only is in 2.5%. We got 5% with the communists, so the communists should already have a bit of an advantage going into this. What's going to happen with Schwert and Shield? Oh, is that Sword and Shield? Yes, I think it is actually Sword and Shield. Recruitable population seems just kind of okay to me right now. A theorist could go ahead and grab some of that army experience, and I think that's not a bad plan. Is anyone causing any world tension? Gosh dang it, no, they're not. Fine. Theorist it is. Let's go ahead and start building up some of that army experience so I will be able to change my templates eventually. Takes a long time to build up a good amount of experience. Figure we might as well. Still revising that banking law. Pretty soon, I imagine we're going to get a pop-up for some fascist popularity, and then things are going to change. The situation in Griffonheim will change, and we'll be able to go down this route to gather the council and choose our destiny. Something destiny. It's going to be great. Once this is done, though, I do want to revitalize Yale and get some of them civilian factories, because we are just a little too slow for comfort, but we'll figure it out eventually. Thank you all for watching. I do hope you are looking forward to this. Just, again, for the people out there who are always hesitant about Equestria at War, guys, it's a really well-built mod. It really has so freaking much depth to it. It's absolutely astounding. All right? Honestly, in a way, it almost puts Hearts of Iron 4 proper to shame. I mean, I love the game, but wow, the mods do such a good job. So give it a shot, guys. It is worth following, at least for a little while. Be sure to hit that like button if you are looking forward to this series. Leave a comment, subscribe, hit the notify bell, and I will see you guys next time.